loud.
And just while you're doing that, I just want to welcome everyone. I'm going to be monitoring the chat in the background. So if you have any questions or concerns or anything I can support you with, throw something in the chat. And there's also do we have the Q&A functionality going?
The Q&A functionality is going, and that's the way to do it. If you have an actual question, put it in the Q&A part.
Yep.
You just want to, say fun stuff, then, say fun stuff in the chat.
All right.
Okay, we ready?
Let's rock and roll.
Let's rock and roll, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so I want to start by welcoming you to the Ignite Mastermind Tell All Call. That's what it's all about. And you can see I'm old school, right? I'm 51. So I'm calling a video conference a call. So maybe you'll help me to update my language. But I want to start by making a bold promise. Join the mastermind, and I guarantee that you're going to have a quantum leap in your life. And that quantum leap could be anywhere. You get to declare where the quantum leaps are. But I will tell you that in just 12 short months, together, not me, not you, the whole group, together, we as a group will systematically remove the unseen barriers that are blocking your have-it-all life. You want to be free to do the things that you want to do, to have the things that you want to have. The mastermind is not about trying to make your kind of lousy life better. The mastermind is about taking your already functioning life and making it badass. This is about you saying, look, I'm already pretty effective, Matthew, in most of the areas of my life. But I'm not satisfied, and I don't appreciate it. I'm not experiencing the results that I want. This is about quantum leaping that area. Now, I'm so confident that I can do that for you, and it's not me, actually. I'm confident that the group can do that with you, that I've got a group of panelists today that are going to share the quantum leaps that they've been experiencing in their lives. And I've asked them to just open the kimono and share their journey with the Ignite Mastermind group. And we have one person who I think has been in 3 times, one that's done it twice, and one that is on his first year. And it turns out to only be boys today that responded to my request. But we're going to do this call again 2 weeks from now. And I'm pretty sure that that's all girls on that one. So it works for boys and girls, just so you know. Now, what I've noticed is that high conscious go-getters like you, and that's what I'm going to propose. This is for people who are already living a good life. You're high conscious, you're a go-getter, you're going for it, you're doing things. I've noticed that there are 3 problems that people run into. And the first one is that you keep getting inspired to set the same goal over and over and over and over that you never feel like you really quite achieve. So you work harder and harder. You're hoping that this time you're going to feel like you finally arrived, you finally accomplished the goal. You're hoping that your hard-earned work will finally pay off, and that you'll finally feel satisfied and fulfilled. But if you're being honest with yourself, it doesn't really work, right? You work harder and harder and harder and harder and harder and harder, and you push more and more and more for those when it's just sort of like, when am I going to be fully satisfied? When am I going to feel like I made it? And today you'll see we have Cuthberto on the line with us. And by all measures, the guy's an absolute rock star. He's financially free. Yet, when he started in the mastermind, he was still feeling like he wasn't there yet. He was still feeling like, when am I going to arrive? And he had already arrived. But he couldn't quite let himself off the hook. He couldn't quite give himself permission to acknowledge that all is well and go into a state of full, profound peace and joy. The second problem that I have seen happen for high conscious go-getters is that you're relatively successful, but you never really, boom, hit that home run, that dream situation. You have these moments of gratitude and happiness, but you still get railroaded by the drunk monkey and its negative thoughts, and you're conscious enough to know And to be frank, it kind of pisses you off. It's like, I know better. And I keep getting railroaded by the drunk monkey. We're going to hear from Tom Ross today, another person on the panel. And when he started his journey, he was a grinder. He was grinding and grinding and grinding and grinding. He did everything he could to hit that home run. He was exhausted. He was battling his worries and his self-doubt and his fretting, but he was putting on a happy face and looking all good and dressed up and looking, I'm going to do it. He's like, he was the man. But underneath, there was a sewer. He was the rose garden with the sewer underneath. Problem number 3 is that you've been there, done that. But you've progressed beyond all the things that you've been studying. Your religion is no longer creating the quantum leaps that it originally did. Your teachers are no longer providing you with that incredible inspiration. Your mentors are no longer taking you to the next level. And for people like you and I, that's an issue because our whole way of operating is growth. You're a spiritual person. You feel deeply. And you know that peace and bliss and living a really good life is possible. You know it. And you're pretty much there. But something's missing. The traditional pathways of religion aren't quite doing it for you. There's like an up-leveling that you're looking to do, that you want to add to your religious faith and your base. There's an up-leveling that you want to do to add to all of the things that you've studied in the past so that you can take it to the next level. And you aren't growing the way that you want to, that you thought that you would right now. So I'm going to introduce you to Jason. And Jason is a real go-getter like most of us. He's devoted, he's committed, and yet after all of his learning, after his devotion to his teachers, he still found himself reacting, being negative, and like most of us, it pissed him off. It pissed him off that he was pissed off, right? Can you see the loop? He was pissed off that he was pissed off. And all he wanted was peace and a good life. So sometimes I will tell you, it is really heart-wrenching to watch these problems happen for most people because most of the time, these issues that you're going through are issues that I was going through myself that I had to figure out how to solve to get to my peace. But some of the effects are pretty debilitating. Let me see if you can relate to any of these effects. You have a nagging feeling that you may never be as successful as you want. You sometimes feel like other people must be luckier than you are because they're making it happen and you're not. You get down on yourself for being negative, and you know you shouldn't be. You have the toys, you do some vacations, you drive the car, you have a nice house, you're giving back. But none of it feels satisfying. None of it actually feels like you've arrived. You keep having this feeling like, okay, well, when that happens, then I'm going to feel it. When once that happens, all bets are off. And then you start to get close to it and you're like, nah, that's not it. I call it the treadmill from hell. You've probably heard me talk about the personal development prison. And I bet that people tell you that you're successful and you're kind of like, yeah. You don't acknowledge yourself. You don't appreciate yourself as much as you know you could. And you keep thinking, well, listen, once I get to these benchmarks, A, B, C, D, then I'll feel successful. And you and I both know you've been saying that shit to yourself your whole life and it isn't working. Sometimes you feel like a fraud. You wonder if people can really see that you're half-assing it because you know you are in so many places. You aren't actually fulfilling your true potential. You literally can do things half-ass and they turn out really well. And the people around you are like, my God, you're so amazing. And you're like, if you only knew. Those are the effects of these problems. And over the years, I've seen that there is an underlying cause to the whole damn thing that is blocking you from quantum leaping into that next level of happiness, peace, joy, satisfaction, fulfillment, because when you're feeling those things, you kick ass in your business. You are ruthless with your money and you start making really powerful decisions. Your relationships become so enriching. You stop making people wrong. You stop resisting people. You come together. You can love people in ways that you can't even imagine. And all of that is being blocked. All of those quantum leaps are being blocked by the hidden motives to survive. You've probably seen this in my book, The Hidden Motives to Survive. Is it up backwards, babe, on your screen? No? Okay,
No,
good.
it's looking good.
All right, hey, sweet. All right, well, I have to talk again to pull it back. So the hidden motives to survive: greed, grudge, hatred, victim, illogical rules, humble, traitor, pride, resistance, lazy. This stuff right here is blocking you. And the reason being is it creates this invisible barrier. You see me talking about the drunk monkey, right? But check it out right here. The hidden motives to survive are actually fueling your survival mind. And if you think about this triangle is like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So down here, this is not you. You're not in the base state. You're not worried about, food and shelter. You're not really worried about belonging. You're not worried about your confidence. You're up here in self-realization. You're operating at this spot. And what we need to do is we need to actually acknowledge that there is something beyond self-realization. And here's what it is. If you look beyond, we add the rapid enlightenment process and you go into a quiet mind state. So here's what personal development will do, all this. It deals with survival. But you're being blocked because you know that thriving is available. It's an option. And together, let's work on the rapid enlightenment process. So you have hidden barriers that you know are there. You know they're there, but you haven't been able to do anything about it. And you have tried every damn thing under the sun. You're an advanced student. I know this. You would not be attracted to the mastermind unless you were an advanced student. So I can tell you that it's not the drunk monkey. The drunk monkey is the effect. The drunk monkey is literally the effect of the hidden motives. These things drive the drunk monkey, and then the drunk monkey says, we need food and shelter, and we need to belong, and we need to have a nice family, and we need to be self-actualized, right? The drunk monkey's like, I love being self-actualized. It means that I'm going to survive longer. That's the enlightened drunk monkey you've probably heard me talk about. So here's the deal. You and I both know that there are layers and layers and layers of habits, beliefs that become impenetrable barriers to this incredible quantum leap that you want to make. Will you write down, please, one quantum leap that you would love to make in the next year? Like, what would just blow your mind if you made this quantum leap in the next year? Now, here's what you need to know. Write it down, but here's what you need to know. In the mastermind, we would all be on together. Nobody would be muted. And we would ask this question. And then we would all be sharing, and we would be looking for, oh my God, how can I make a difference for Tom? What can I do to help Cuthberto? So all of a sudden you'd see this acceleration because we would mastermind and come together. Mastermind. Write it down. What would be an incredible quantum leap? I conduct the mastermind as in like I'm the facilitator, but I'm equally a participant in the mastermind. I do the mastermind because it's the stuff that has worked for me, and the mastermind is a structure for me to do this work over and over and over. And one of the things that I like to do, I'm like you, I like to write down my goals, my dreams, my intentions, and then I like to figure out what's blocking them and how do I get them to be expressed. That's the stuff we do in the mastermind. But let me ask you a few questions and see if you can relate to this. Are your goals coming true at the speed that you want? I bet that they're not. Are you as positive and peaceful and joyous as you know you can be? Probably not. Are you as empowered as you know you could be to go after your dreams, or are you leaving stuff on the table? Are you half-assing some stuff? Do you feel like you're whole, complete, and perfect exactly as you are? Or do you feel like you still need to change things in yourself? Are you in control of your thoughts? Or is the drunk monkey still grabbing control? Does your mind think about things that you don't want it to think about? Does your mind interpret and distract you with unimportant details and drama and bullshit? Do you spend a tiny fraction of your life thinking about the things that matter the most to you, and way too much time on unimportant, routine matters, distractions, emergencies, and drama? Have you gone year after year after year caught up in the whirlwind of life and ignored or even avoided going after the really, 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 really important things? Let me ask you a question. What is a back burner project that you keep saying someday when it's all together? What is a back burner project that it would radically transform your life if you took that back burner project and you put it on the front burner? Write it down right now. For me, music was a back burner project. And in my late 20s, I figured out how to make it a front burner. For me, being a spiritual teacher was a back burner project. And a couple of years ago, through this process of Mastermind, I got it to be in the front burner. And that's what you're experiencing now. This, my friend, is what you have at stake. This is what is at stake. Circle that thing that you wrote down. This is what is at stake. This is what we're playing for. Now, I know that you've been doing all kinds of stuff to figure it out, right? You've been doing the hypnosis and the NLP and the healing workshops and weekends and visualizing and meditating and goals and affirmations. And you've been going to all the different teachers and you've been reading the books and the coaches and all that stuff. And you've made progress. You've made progress. You've improved a lot. But there's this dream that you have, this someday that you keep talking about, that is stuck back there. And that's the thing that we're playing for. That's the thing we're playing for. Whatever you have been doing has gotten you to here. What has you go into the state of, all is well in my world. I can now just do the things that I want to do. What gets you to that state? The rapid enlightenment process. That is what gets you to that state. So we want to remove the energetic barriers that are blocking you. And these are the energetic barriers right here. We want to remove these energetic barriers right here. And they're blocking you from jumping into this quiet mind state. That's the game that we're playing. We're going to do it together. The bottom line is we want to set you free. The real solution here is not more personal development. The real solution is transcending personal development. Transcending. Here's where personal development lives. Personal development lives right here in self-actualization. What we're talking about is transcending self-actualization and going into the enlightened state. In the enlightened state, you don't fear anything. In the enlightened state, you take action because it feels good, because you're excited. You do it in a fearless fashion. It doesn't mean that you don't have bullshit in your life. You do. It doesn't mean that you don't have problems and challenges and get confronted. You do. You have challenges. You get confronted. But in your enlightened state, you're able to think unbelievably rationally. You're able to think with extreme levels of logic. Your creativity just explodes. If you want to make a quantum leap and start living your have-it-all life, then you've got to start to employ a process that has you jump out of the stuff that isn't working and jump into the stuff that does work. And what works is the recognition that all is well. So let me introduce you to our panel. And these are three guys that are in our current mastermind. And like I said, if you're just joining us, I put out the word to the mastermind and said, hey, who can come and just talk about the mastermind for our next for our introduction call. And I had three guys that responded and they were all for today. And then I have three girls that are responding and they're for 2 weeks from now. So we have today is the guy call. And then in 2 weeks, we have the girl call. Okay. So they have agreed to just share deeply and authentically with you their trials and tribulations. And I've told them that their job is not to make it sound like rainbows and unicorns, even though there are lots of rainbows and unicorns moments. The ability to deal with the crap is the key. And that's what a quiet mind helps you with. So I want to start by introducing Cuthberto Ramos. And Cuthberto, if you could unmute yourself, would you please introduce yourself? Tell them where you're from, what you do for a living, and how long you've been in the mastermind.
My name is Cuthberto Ramos. I am a full-time real estate investor, and I've been in the mastermind for 2 years consecutive.
Yeah, baby. And then Jason Thomas, please introduce yourself. Where are you from? What do you do for a living? And how long have you been in the mastermind?
I'm Jason Thomas. I live in Northwest Arkansas, and I am the systems manager / automation expert for Matthew and Chris and everything we got going on over here. And I also run our family-owned pest control business. And I've been in the mastermind for 1 year.
Yeah, you have. Okay. And then Mr. Tom Ross, who are you? Where are you from? And what do you do for a living? How long in the mastermind?
My name's Tom Ross from Phoenix, Arizona. I'm a mortgage banker, been in the mortgage industry for about 20 years. And I in the mastermind, this is my second time through the mastermind. I had a gap year, did mastermind, gap year, and then closing out on my second year.
We are so glad to have you back in our lives, Tom. So Cuthberto, you came to this mastermind already set for life. You didn't ever have to work again. When he says he's a real estate investor, you guys need to understand he's a real estate investor at the level of he owns a real estate investing fund. He owns many doors. They do reposition and flipping. They have many different business. He has one business that has all these different functions that create a tremendous amount of income and cash flow for him. Yet, when you came into the mastermind, you were plagued with doubts and concerns and fears. Can you just tell our people who are interested in the mastermind what some of those doubts and fears and problems were that you had when you first joined the mastermind so they can understand where you were?
Well, it's funny right now when you were going through the points, the main one I remember that jumped out was, well, there was two, but the main one that was, I felt like a fraud. I really did. I felt like because I felt like that, I couldn't enjoy the most basic sit down at a table with my family. And that was like a slow death to me. It's like, how could it's almost like the program that got me to feel successful or to be perceived as successful never let me enjoy anything. Obviously that was not my lack of a quiet mind, but I just felt like I wasn't really there. I felt like other people deserved it more than I did. I felt like, if I wasn't on the go, I wasn't going to feel good about myself. So I felt like everybody was applauding me or perceiving me as a successful person. And yet I just felt it was weird. I never thought I was going to get to that place after, you feel like you reached a certain point in your life. But I felt like I'm walking around feeling worse than I did before. So, that was probably the main thing. And I remember, you remember that. I mean, I just remember feeling like I'm probably just, I'm like, I don't deserve this, or I'm 2 steps away from failure.
And literally at that time, you were by far the most successful person in your entire family, maybe one of the most successful people in your entire county at that time. Is that accurate to say that?
No, that was accurate.
Yet plagued with these doubts and fears and concerns. And ultimately what we saw with Cuthberto is that he had some hidden motives running. And what was the big hidden motive that kept jacking you up?
It was humble, for sure.
And how did humble express itself, Cuthberto?
It was obviously everybody else was better than me. It didn't matter what I did. Everybody else was better than me. I was always below someone else. Even when somebody would offer me an opportunity for anything, the first thing, it can't, how could I do that? And, and the only reason I would do anything was just because of my hard work. It wasn't because I was worthy. It was just because of my hard work. Like, that was the underlying program behind everything. It didn't matter how I smiled. It didn't matter what I said or what I did. The underlining thing was, I shouldn't have this.
And wasn't it also something like, if I don't work really hard, then people will discover I really am not worthy?
That is true. That is it. That's it. That was it. It was just this big fear of the fraud. Like, oh man, they're going to know that I shouldn't even be in this room. I shouldn't even be in this panel.
Right. I shouldn't even be in this panel. Exactly. But today, I mean, if we're being honest, today, Cuthberto, you're having a completely different experience of your life today. And when I invited you on the panel, it was just like, hell yeah, I'm in, count me in, right? I mean, when I invited you on the panel, did you have a moment of humble, or is it almost completely gone now?
No, it's gone. It's gone. It's of course, like, let's do this. This is people need to know. And remember, I don't even know what I'm going to say. Just throw it at me, whatever. Because it's
let's throw down, baby. Let's throw down.
Let's do it.
I love it. Thank you for sharing that, Cuthberto. I'll come back to you here in a moment, but I want to get over to Tom. Tom, by all measures, when you joined the mastermind, you were killing it in the mortgage business. You were a top dog in that particular industry. Yet you came into the mastermind complaining that there was something missing, like you weren't satisfied. It's like, well, I had set my goal to do 10 deals a month, and I did that, and I'm not there yet. So then I said, well, what if I did 15? Then I'm doing that, and I'm not there yet. Then I said, okay, well, what if I do 20, and I do that, and I'm not there yet? It was like, no matter what you did, you weren't satisfied. Can you just talk about, in your words, what were the issues that you were faced with, that you were working to resolve using the Rapid Enlightenment process in a mastermind format?
So it was, I was the poster child for never celebrating any win. There was no such thing as a win, and yeah, by all objective metrics, I was excellent in my industry for a long period of time. I was really kind of at war with myself a little bit, like where I would set this goal, I would go do the goal, I would get really busy, I would go do the goal, and at the same time, I would be mad that I was busy, and it was I could never figure out. It's like, well, I said that I want this. And then now I'm mad that it's happening, and then I'd shut it down again. So my entire life was just this constant like fits and starts, and get really busy, and then okay, not satisfied, but you got to do the next thing, and it's like the vacations kept getting nicer, but there was no particular happiness or joy with it. And what it really was my entire experience of kind of like climbing to the higher levels. Like, I started internally noticing that because I wasn't getting happier, or because I wasn't satisfied, like that was what was pissing me off. And so why did I want to keep pushing myself? Now I may have had to because I had car payments and house payments and this, that, or whatever, but why did I want to keep pushing myself when I was at the end of the day not satisfied with anything, and that was really kind of what drew me to the mastermind, was this idea. It's like I know that there's something that I'm not seeing, that there's something that, I'd done so much work, so much self-actualization work through different companies that I could produce really strong results. And I knew that the voices, the things that I would tell myself in my head, that I wasn't good enough, that I knew these things were not true objectively based on results. I knew they weren't true, but I couldn't shut them up. They were always there, and it was always, you know, fighting myself for whatever I said I wanted, and I was consequently a little miserable. And so the idea of this mastermind and diving into quieting the mind was 1,000% what I dove in for.
That's so awesome. And can you just help our potential new masterminder? I mean, I just get so excited about the idea of having some new fresh blood in the group, right? Because we all know each other so deeply now. Can you help our new potential masterminder understand like what that transformation has been for you now?
Yeah, I'll give you a really good example. So my mind went quiet during the first mastermind that we engaged in, and that constant nagging voice just kind of disappeared. I learned how to recognize it. I learned how to, you know, just dismiss it. The mind was quiet. When I lived in that space, I was able to set goals for my business in, let's say, 2017 that were extremely inspiring and fun, and I had an extraordinary amount of satisfaction with all these things that were happening in business. And in 2018, my industry experienced a significant downturn, and I was able to weather what would have been really emotionally cataclysmic, and I would have been just a real grouchy father and husband, and really go through an incredibly stressful period in 2018. And I weathered it with just calm and grace, and all is well. And I looked at everything unbelievably rationally. You know, what was working, what wasn't working, and I was okay with any result that was occurring. So I was able to navigate really turbulent times in my industry last year and come out on the other side with even more momentum, you know, and pacing for another career year again. So does that answer kind of your question?
Yeah, incredible. And that's one of the things that I want everyone to understand is that the enlightened framework is just a more effective way to operate in the world. And we get confused about enlightenment. We think that enlightenment means we're going to have to unplug from the world, and we're going to have to go live in a cave, and we're going to have to be meditating and praying all the time, and blah, blah, blah. And I just want you to know that for our ancestors, that was 100% the case. The possibility of you living in an enlightened state, you know, 4, 5, 6, 10 generations ago, not really high if you stayed in society. But today is the golden opportunity to work on your enlightened mastery and live an epic life. Let's jump over to Jason. Jason, you're an interesting case study for me because you're partners with Kristen and I in our business. You are a devoted Christian, hardcore, I would say hardcore Christian. And yet something about employing enlightened perspectives called to you. We didn't say, hey, Jason, you should be in our mastermind. You were like, guys, I want in that mastermind. You know what I mean? And so something about it called to you because something was out of whack in your life. And it propelled you to make an unconventional request to participate in a program about employing enlightened perspectives, which, if we're being honest, if you look into the general Christian community, the things that just the idea of doing something non-Christian is default automatically a threat. And yet there's something about this where you're just like, I'm all in. And I propose that even your Christianity has improved as a result. But I want you to just talk to our potential masterminder about some of the issues and problems that you thought that you wanted to solve as a result of getting into the mastermind.
Yeah. So my whole life I've been very dedicated to personal development as well as to, you know, Christianity and following Jesus. And I realized I have always been the kind of guy that and I'm never going to run away from a new idea because it might challenge my current ideas. I'm always just learning and trying new things and looking into new things. And I realized that the promises of religion, that the Christian religion in particular, that I'm, been very deeply involved with my whole life, was failing me in that it wasn't producing the outcome anymore in terms of helping me live like Jesus, the way that he demonstrated to live. And I realized that the religion itself is based more on the traditions of man. And now I realize it's because it's a survival mind. But, I was starting to realize that the traditions of man that I've been following this whole time is not really helping me live more of a Christ-like life. And so I decided to throw out the traditions of man and focus on Jesus's message and what he demonstrated. And working with you, I was exposed to obviously the enlightened prosperity ideas. And that in and of itself, like you said, is completely contradictory to your typical Christian mentality. And so I just decided to focus on, what did Jesus actually say? What did he do? How did he want us to live? Not all the other stuff, not all the commentary and all the other rules. And then, I'm going to look into these enlightened prosperity ideas that Matthew's talking about and see what that does for me. And wow, the last 12 months has been incredible.
And so one of the things that I noted in our conversations was, I'm clear. This is Jason saying to me, I'm clear that I react with anger and hostility in at times that's completely inappropriate.
Oh yeah.
And it's holding me back. Can you just give us a clue into that? Because obviously that's not very Jesus-like to go,
yeah.
To get a little hostile.
Yeah. One of the main difficulties was, I've always struggled with anger and temper problems. I fly off the handle at the smallest little thing. If it's my son, says a few too many times that he's hungry, and I would just, snap at him. And then I would feel like shit afterwards because I snapped at my son, who is probably just hungry. He's not intentionally being annoying, or just in business dealings. I would very quickly jump to being defensive, as opposed to trying to see, from my client's perspective, what they're going through and what their concerns are. I would get defensive, and that was not good for business at all. And so those were a couple of the major ones that I wanted to try to address, that no matter how many times or how much I thought of, or I prayed about, those types of things, I never really was able to overcome that and ascend into, a more peaceful, loving, flowing state.
Let me show you the chart. Which one of the hidden motives was driving you into these aggravated states?
Pride. Pride has been a big one for me.
Pride is so valuable from a survival perspective, but it is destructive when you're dealing with your child. It's destructive when you're trying to be a collaborator with people in business. So what I want to do now is I want to actually flip the conversation. Excuse me. I want to have Tom and Kristen and Jason and Cuthberto just kind of join me in describing what the mastermind is, so you can make a decision on that. And then I want to open up for any questions, and you can ask me a question. You can ask any of the panelists a question. It's completely open, okay? But here is the unvarnished reality. You can either continue working hard for gradual gains in your income, your well-being, your sense of satisfaction, or you can leverage the power of enlightened perspectives and make a quantum leap in what you're doing. And that quantum leap can be so incredibly powerful. You can keep trying to do it on your own. You can. You know, I don't know where my book went. There it is. You know, read my book. Read my book. Listen to my videos. You know, work with people in the Spiritual Hooligan Mastermind on Facebook, our Facebook group. You can do that. Or you can leverage the power of Mastermind. And Mastermind 1 is good. 30 or 40, mind-blowing. When you add 30 more minds to your life who are focused on making a difference for you, you have no idea how powerful that is. And I propose that today, it's possible. You have your foot on the gas pedal. What? It's like what Tom said, on the gas pedal and the brake at the same time. There's a fight going on inside of you. Now, the dictionary defines quantum leap as any sudden and significant change, advance, or increase. And after nearly 2 decades of research and investigation and trial and error and testing, and you got to know, I've coached coming up on 10,000 people now. I've coached for tens of thousands of hours. I have a formula for engineering quantum leaps in an enlightened fashion. And my friends, I want that for you. So let's take a moment right now, and I just want you to think about the question that I asked you before. But I want you to think about it in this way. If life was as good as it gets, what does it look like? Take a moment. Just close your eyes with me. Not if you're driving. Okay. If you're driving, keep your eyes open. Close your eyes with me. If life was as good as it gets, just visualize it for a moment. Think about it. What miracles would happen? Would you spend more time with your kids? Would you transition from earned income to passive income? Would you start that new company? Would you start doing that hobby that you want to do? Would you travel more? Would you deepen your spirituality? Would you make a difference for others? That's what's on the table for the mastermind. That is what is on the table. That's what we're going after. We do not play small in the mastermind because we know what happens when you add 30 additional minds to your world. We know what happens. It's exponential, the growth that occurs. But it all starts by getting the mind to go quiet, which is my number 1 goal. So the Ignite Mastermind is a 1-year program. And these are the components. 1, we're going to kickstart our time together with weekly intensive Zoom calls like this, except we're not communicating in the chat. It's like the Wild West. We're all, we put each other in Brady Bunch mode on the screen, and everybody's talking. We're all jumping in. I'm just leading the conversation. So we're going to start every week, every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time for an hour and a half. We are on it. We're in it. We're pushing each other. We're going. Component number 2, excuse me. Tom, you want to say something? You just jumped into the screen. So probably mute yourself, Tom, just in case, because it jumps you into the screen when you do that. Component number 2 is the Mastermind Weekend Retreat. And we're going to do this 3 times during our time together. We work in trimesters, so we work in 4-month segments together. And so we're going to go through these trimesters, and 3 times we're all going to get together. Do you have to be at every one of the weekend retreats? No. Do we want you to be at every one of them? Yes. Do we understand you have a life? Yes, we do. So we're hoping you can be at least 2 out of the 3. But to achieve our guarantee, you have to be on you have to go to at least one of our weekend retreats, and you got to be on all the calls. Okay.
I will jump in here.
Yeah, jump in.
Those the weekend mastermind retreats are absolutely mind-blowing. I mean, there's so much that you get out of the entire mastermind process. However, just the deep dive that we do together and the energy that's created in that process, I mean, you come out of that and it's like you're fired out of a cannon for the next 2 months. It's amazing.
And I just want you to know that I do the process of those weekend retreats for me too. I'm part of the mastermind, just so you know. I want to feel that juice. I want to feel that energy. And Tom's right. It's not like going to a normal personal development seminar, because normal personal development, you got a week or two before it's gone. When you change your context and you remove one of the hidden motives, all of a sudden, all of this pent up energy just starts coming through you. And it can be 2-3 months of just velocity as you come out of one of the weekends. Component number 3, these are the group calls that are me. I don't know why this is component number 3. I just pulled it off the website to tell you, okay? But all calls are recorded. I think that's really what it is. So on the off chance that you're unable to make the call, you can listen in or watch it on a private password protected online portal that we have just for the mastermind, okay? And these calls are for members only. No one else is allowed to listen in. No one else. We don't want other people in your office. We don't want any extra energy, because we're going to create these. We're going to create this the sanctity of the space. Number 4 component is the small, what we call team group calls. So after our first weekend retreat, so we're going to go weekly, and then boom, in July, we'll do our first weekend retreat. Then what happens is we switch the modalities. So instead of all being together all the time, we switch to to big call where everybody's together, small, we get everybody into these small groups. So it's full throttle mastermind, meaning in the small group calls, you'll say, okay, these are a couple of the issues that I'm dealing with. And now you have your tribe, essentially your board, right? So here's your life. And then you have your own board of a team member to help you to go through this process, to create accountability, to create structure. Really, really, really powerful. And the small groups are where you'll really work on the assignments that transform your life. You'll create accountability. You'll create structure. You'll do problem solving. But you should know that essentially we're all talking to each other all the time. We're all communicating nonstop. I've got probably 2 or 3 emails in my email right now from people in the mastermind that I'll be reaching out to and connecting with. If my phone rings and it's someone from the mastermind, you're on the inner circle. When you're in the mastermind, you're in the inner circle. It's really what it comes down to. So these component number 5, as a member of the Ignite Mastermind, you get a second mastermind weekend retreat. These are Oh, okay. I'm not sure. I see. Got it. This is the ironclad guarantee. So I'm reading off of the website, so I apologize. It's not as scripted as I would like it to be for presenting. So you'll have to forgive me for free flowing here. All right. But we have an ironclad 200% money back guarantee that we offer. And what that is essentially you pay what is the total dollars in, Kristen, that they'll pay to be a part of the mastermind?
Over the year?
Yes.
$9,640.
So it's over the year, you'll pay $9,640. And if we don't produce at least one verifiable quantum leap in your life, we give you a 200% money back guarantee. And we stand by this guarantee. We've never had to invoke it. We've offered it the whole time. We've never had to invoke it because this shit works. We've never had to invoke it, but we'd be happy to. We'd be happy to write you a check if you don't have a quantum leap. But here's what you need to know. We'll know if you're not having a quantum leap, and every one of us will go the extra mile to make sure that you do. It's just the way it works. So you're not going to be able to escape us. You won't be able to hide. You won't be able to lay low. You won't be able to fly under the radar. You just won't be able to, because the people in your group will reach out to me like, hey, Bob's flaking. Can you help us get him back on board again? 100%. Let's call. Yo, dude, what's going on? Let's see if we can work it through. There's no hiding in this group. Now, everyone who wants to learn muscle testing will learn muscle testing while they're in the group. Muscle testing is a very powerful modality. You don't have to. Some people are predisposed to it. Some people aren't. But the good news is so many people in the group know how to muscle test. So anything that you do want muscle tested for yourself to find blocks, we're going to do it in a heartbeat. We're also going to give you the muscle testing school as our gift. So when you're in the program, you essentially get everything that we do. So if you're in the program and you want to go to Epic Life Live, you get to go and you get to be a VIP and you get to sit in front and you're having lunch with the other mastermind members, the whole thing. If you want to attend the muscle testing school, you 100%, you're in like Flynn, we're doing it. You get the weekend retreats. Those are only mastermind members. You need to pick up the phone and talk to me, talk to Kristen. You want to come over for dinner, you want to come over for lunch or breakfast, done. We're doing the people in our mastermind are the people in our mastermind. We're in the mastermind with you. Do you get that? This is why I sent out the email and said, do you want to be in my mastermind group? I meant my mastermind group, like I'm in the mastermind. Yes, I'm creating the framework, right? I'm creating the framework. I know what works, but I'm doing the framework on myself with you at the same time. We're all in it together. So you pay $19.95 down to be in the group. You're putting it, you're anteing up. I'm in. You got to put your money where your mouth is. This is not a free program. We offer plenty of free programs. This is for people who are badasses who are doing stuff in their life. So there's a barrier to entry called the cost. And then it's $6.95 a month for 11 months. Did I explain that right, Kristen?
Nailed it.
Nailed it. Okay. Now, Ignite members dedicate themselves to participating fully for the benefit of the group. And each member in the group has to apply to be in the group and has to be accepted. And I just want you to know that's the only way that we can make it so that you're among your peers. So there's plenty of people who have applied that we have declined, and we don't, when we decline people, we don't kick them to the curb. We're like, yo, we're declining you for these reasons, but we're also taking your ass on to make sure that you can be in this group. And then Kristen and I and other members of the group, we get in there and we see if we can support you in up-leveling so you can be a part of the group, okay? I just want you to know, this is not open for everybody. But don't let that deter you. Don't be like Cuthberto, I'm a loser, I'll never be accepted, okay? Don't let it deter you. Definitely apply. And then let us be in a communication, because just applying puts you in communication with Kristen and I. And now all of a sudden we're talking to you to try and figure out how do we either like, yes, 100% get in here, or it's like, some of these things are making us concerned about your wherewithal about participating in the group, because you really, to participate in the group, you do need to be able to withstand the confrontation and the volatility that taking yourself on in this way will create, okay? I think that completes the entire thing. So we're gonna give you $19,080 at the end of the program if you don't have a quantum leap. That is our ironclad, risk-free, 200% money-back guarantee. So with that, I want to open up to any questions, concerns, comments, thoughts, any questions you want to ask the panel, anything at all. So if you put it into the Q&A, so my screen's over here, right? So I have my teleprompter is right here with my camera. I have my screen with all of you, and then I have the chat over here on this side. So Best case is to put it in the Q&A, but if you've already put it in the chat, Kristen's probably already grabbed it and set it aside. Kristen, I'm going to push over to you to manage the process.
Okay, great. So we have one question is, where do I apply? I'm not sure if you gave that information
Yeah.
out.
Can you put that into the chat for everybody? It's matthewferry.com/ignite-mastermind.
Yeah, let me just grab the link and I'll pop that right into the chat. We had some questions about what do you actually get? So do you get access to everything that we offer as a mastermind member? And the answer is you get access to the Epic Life Live events. We do 3 a year. You get access to Muscle Testing School. We also do 3 a year. And then did you mention about the P3 Academy?
I didn't mention the P3 Academy. We're going to rebrand it pretty soon. But yeah, for now, it is the P3 Academy, which is essentially all my audios, all my videos, all my meditations, all the training that I have. We provide that to the mastermind as a way of supplementing the process.
Yep, that's exactly right. So I don't have any formal questions in the Q&A. I've got some things that have come through in chat. Christine was curious if you were involved personally in the small group masterminds as well.
No, because there's too many of them. You know what I mean? There's a whole bunch of them. And the point is actually to remove myself from the process and let the brilliance of the group come together. So I do the big group call. And then when we go into that staggered, big group call, small team call, big group call, small team call. The small team calls is about the 3, 4, 5 of you coming together and supporting each other in this thriving process. And you're only going to be with each other for 4 months, because as soon as we have the next event, the next weekend retreat, then we switch everybody up again. So you're going to end up knowing personally and having worked with personally almost every single person in the group.
Yeah, I think it'd be great to get the guys' perspective on that, because what we don't talk about, Matthew, is the power of the network, right? So you've talked a lot about the power of the program and the personal experience.
Yeah.
But what I've noticed is that the interconnectivity, the relationships, the quote unquote doing business with one another and really being those collaborators, that's this whole additional layer that you get as being a part of the group. So maybe Jason or Tom or Cuthberto would speak a little bit about what it's been like just having other entrepreneurial, badass, up to stuff people become part of their network.
Yeah, no, it's huge. First of all, it's always amazing how everybody flies in from a different part of the world sometimes and kind of convenes in one area. And then you have essentially groups of people with completely amazing and different skill sets that you can just bounce ideas off of, and everybody has extremely battle tested, phenomenal opinions to be able to offer to kind of be a sounding board. It's extraordinarily powerful.
Yeah, and to piggyback off that, I have a couple of personal experiences I can share with this. I used to be in the real estate investment world 10, 12 years ago, and we actually got hit pretty hard in 2008 with the crash, and actually had to declare bankruptcy and all that fun stuff. And so I was pretty jaded with with real estate for a long time. As being a part of this mastermind, I've been kind of re-inspired to get back into real estate investing. And Manny, who is Cuthberto's partner, has been in my small group, and so I gave him a call and picked his brain a bit. I also talked with another member of the mastermind group who does Airbnbs, which is a thing that me and my wife are really interested in getting into. Got her, thoughts and feedback and ideas. And I also was having another conversation with another member of our group that, a potential partnership of sorts on another deal. So being able to collaborate with like-minded people, high conscious go-getters, entrepreneurs that are out there doing things has been phenomenal. It really is a very, very big piece of this whole deal that we don't really talk about. You don't really get until you're kind of in the group and see it.
And
Yeah, I agree.
anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, it's because because it's not the intention to join the group. Because of that, it like you said, it's something that's very secondary. But now I've seen after 24 months that you know what, if I need to call Tom DeWine out in Texas just to chop it up, or somebody calls me, it's that old feeling that they really say is the reason to go to college, right? To network, to meet the people that you grow with, and there's always a bond. There's always a bond with the people that you go through this process with, and they are such badasses at what they do. Everybody, that it's just amazing how it just in a simple cocktail conversation, just the gems that get talked. So you know, I don't want to steer anybody and say that this is it, like come in here for that, but it's just such a benefit, and you come out making, I mean, amazing friends out of this. I mean, these are going to be people who I don't see me not knowing for the next 30, 40 years. These are people that are going to be in my life for a long time. So you know, as much as I love the network, as much as I like picking Tom's brain about mortgages or about his mortgage business, you know, the fact that I can call him 20 years from now just to help me out with anything else is just as good.
Yeah. Well said.
Yep.
Really well said. We've got two great questions here. One is, outside of the calls and the retreats, what type of time commitment should be expected, and is there any homework or exercises? Great question.
Yeah. So the deliberate time spent on the masterminding is in the calls and the retreat. So let's call it an hour and a half a week, and then you know, 1, 2, or 3 weekend retreats, Friday night, all day, Saturday, and Sunday morning. The work that we're going to do in between the calls is 100% on your life. So it's not going to be anything that you go like, I have this extra homework that I need to do that's outside of the domain of what I'm working on. It's the exact opposite. It's like, I'm going to apply this set of ideas to this thing that isn't working in my life right now, and I'm going to make it start working. So it's the opposite of what you think. It's not like, you know, and today we're going to write down all these things, and then I want you to write these things down for the next 4 or 5 days. It's nothing like that. It's more like, okay, take this framework that all is well, but specifically in the realm of the way you're relating to these people in your life, and apply it, and then see what happens, and then brainstorm and mastermind with your small group on the small call. Can you just kind of confirm how that's worked, Tom, for you, so that they get a sense of it? You might be muted, buddy.
Look, there he goes.
Can you repeat that? Repeat the last part of the question? Well,
so the question is, how much time do you spend outside of the calls and the weekend retreats? And what I'm saying is that actually everything is about working in your life. Can you just kind of help that up a little?
A lot of it is adjusting the framework in which you're experiencing kind of life. So you're not ever really not working on it. It's not like, hey guys, go read these 60 pages worth of stuff and do a book report, right? It's a different type of work, because when I work with, you know, a hidden motive and I remove it from my life, I'm noticing how everything else has changed about how I'm perceiving what's going on around me, and then that creates results. So, you know, sometimes we're calling each other and giving each other feedback outside of the group calls. But you know, from a homework perspective, you know, it's a little bit more like journaling a little bit, and then noticing experience in life, and then reporting back to the group.
Exactly right. Okay, so I hope that answered the question. Kristen, tee us up for the next one.
The question is, do we recommend husbands and wives do the mastermind together?
100%. And you won't be in the same group together. So we'll always have you in different groups. You'll be doing the work individually together. And we've had several husbands and wives do the mastermind over the years. This, I think, is going to be is this the 8th or the 9th year that we've done the mastermind?
We are just about finishing up year 8, so I guess going into 9.
Number 9. All right. So we've had a lot of husbands and wives, and it's being led by a husband and wife, just so you know. And when we're doing the mastermind work together in the group, Kristen and I are oftentimes communicating via Skype and answering the questions with each other. And it's like, oh, I've been holding this context about you, Kristen, and I'm letting it go. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff. So it's really valuable to do it with your spouse if your spouse is a high-minded person. If they're not a high-minded person, it'll be an absolute nightmare for everyone.
Yeah, this is not the Fix Your Marriage program, and this is not drag your husband in because you think it's a good idea that he gets fixed. It's just not. But if you're both on the same page, it would be a really monster accelerator. And then also, Cuthberto and Manny are in business together. They've been business partners for a decade or so. And so there's lots of different partnerships that get represented inside the mastermind if it's right for both of the individuals.
Exactly right. Okay, good. Do we have any other questions, or can we wrap it up?
We've got one more, and then let's put a bow around it. So this person shares, looped last night while trying to sleep about running out of money. And the loop was, my investments are going to fail. Sure that nobody else has ever had this experience, but if you have, how do you stay in a happy place and not get stuck in your head occasionally?
Got it. So it's such an important question. So it's kind of like this. The loop happens because of this framework. So the loop is happening because a hidden motive is actually driving the thinking, which is the drunk monkey. So there's something down here, let's call it greed, is saying there's not going to be enough, it's all going to fail. I'm not going to look good. I'm going to be an idiot. And then I'm going to be a victim because I don't have any money. And it's just like doing, 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 doing. Those things are running and they drive the drunk monkey. And you can try to control the drunk monkey and be in a happy place. It ain't going to happen. What there is to do is to go and resolve the misinformation around greed, pride, and victim. And when you resolve those 3 things, then suddenly this evaporates. And what happens is you move up out of the survival mind and you essentially are applying the rapid alignment process and you go into the thriving mind. And Cuthberto, can you just talk about that? Because that is something that you've really been working on, is transcending the insanity of the mind rather than trying to control it.
Yeah, that's I think when I first started, I think it was very obvious how like I tried to almost monitor my thoughts and part of not being able to enjoy even the most basic routine days. I don't care if it was, sitting down watching my son's soccer practice or something. Everything was just unenjoyable because I was trying so hard. And once the mind goes quiet, and it's real, guys. I'm not even kidding. I don't know how to explain it. It's almost like, imagine having a tummy ache and then it just goes away. Like, that radical shift is literally the feeling when you do get that quiet mind, from being imbalanced to just completely shifting to quiet. To me, there's an experience like that it's so obvious where you can't deny it. Like, this is one of the reasons that most of us continue to go to the mastermind, is because we actually experience that from an anxious state possibly to complete quiet. And that experience alone has helped me release and just be like, just let it be. Just let my mind be as quiet, just accept and so forth. So I don't know if that kind of answered that part of the question, but there was there was a feeling that I needed to monitor my thoughts before. That's kind of like what the old school framework of attaining your, you even had to manage your thoughts. So this is not that. This is not a let me come here and fix your life type of environment. This is just a come here and just calm your ass down.
Come here and calm your ass down.
We should put that on, I love that. We should put that on the page.
Yeah.
Come here and calm your ass down.
Join the mastermind. Come here and calm your ass down. Tom, do you just want to add to that idea? Anxious about money. I can't get the loop to stop. It's like over and over and over. How do I get myself to be in that happy place? And you're really working on the methodology of no longer working on trying to be in a happy place, but instead creating the context that removes the hidden motives. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, for me, the entire game and a huge focus of the mastermind for me this time around was to learn the skills to describe what's going on in the world in a way that actually empowers me, and that's a big part of your methodology. And when doing that, combined with eliminating kind of the hidden motives which cause the mind to go quiet, I'm experiencing life in only ways that kind of that work. I'm not resisting anything. When I'm getting when I get a flat tire, I'm not mad because I got a flat tire. I'm like, oh hey, there's a flat tire. Okay, whatever. When I've got a client that doesn't close at the last minute because of a contentious divorce that just decided to pop up, I'm not taken out of my game plan being yelled at by 3 different parties. I'm actually just accepting the situation exactly as is and moving forward, powerfully. So it's it's a combination of that quieting of the mind through work on the hidden motive, and then not resisting what occurs in life, because life just happens, and then it's essentially my interpretation of what is happening that kind of determines whether or not I'm going to be mad about it, whether or not I'm going to be okay with it. So it's less about trying to be happy and more about not resisting anything and just being at peace.
Exactly right. And it's not like in 2018 you were financially viable. You were getting your ass kicked in 2018.
Hugely.
And the possibility of freaking out and saying, oh shit, I'm going to go broke. My family's not going to be able to live the way we want to live. I'm going to have to give the house back. I'm going to have to give the cars back. We're going to live under a bridge, and we're going to be trolls, and right? I mean, all of that was happening in 2018, wasn't it?
1,000%. Absolutely no. But these skills through 2018, I was in 2018 happier personally than I'd ever been in my entire life. I was in 2018 able to be completely at peace with a complete economic tsunami, combined with extreme dysfunction with a lack of integrity within my working scenario. And I was completely at peace with everything, and just looking at it like, okay, do I want to, do I want to still do this? If I don't want to still do this, what are the other things I could do? Okay, well, so if I decide I still want to do this, and what are the best ways to kind of go about righting the ship? So it's hard to understand, because I remember so vividly the pain and the anger and the fear and all of these things that just drove me to produce at extraordinarily high levels. I remember how it felt. And I remember the internal anger and the self-hatred that I had, that I was being driven by that. And to be able to sit in 2018 in a space where it was objectively completely destructive happening around me, and yet I'm sitting in there going, wow, this is amazing. Look at that fall down. What a beautiful implosion that was. And then just decide what I wanted to do about it was the unequivocally the most empowering experience of my entire life.
Yeah. Logic, reason, rational thinking, critical thinking, creativity, those are the result of the quiet mind. You expand into what for the people around you appear to be otherworldly levels of power, but they're not. They're your normal way of operating. When you're at peace, your normal thing is logic, reason, rational, creative, intuitive. That's just how you are. You're an effective problem solver. But when you have the hidden motives running the show, when these things are driving the drunk monkey, there's no effing chance that you're going to be able to get to the logic and reason, because the drunk monkey is not about logic and reason. The drunk monkey is like, you're going to go broke, and then your investments are going to fail, and then you're not going to have any money, and the economy is going to fall down, and then and then you've spent all these years doing these things, and you're never going to get there, and what's wrong with you? And then you're like, no, try and calm down. It's not true. Use affirmations, visualize. And the drunk monkey's like this. You know it doesn't work. I've tried it. You've tried it. It doesn't work. And what works is to remove the motivation for survival thinking altogether. Come join us. It's really cool. Any more questions, Kristen?
No, we're good.
Let's go have some lunch.
Let's do it.
Hey, everybody. We appreciate you greatly. We hope that you will join us for the mastermind. Maybe it's this time. Maybe it's the next time. It's okay. We're not going anywhere. Kristen and I have devoted our lives to this. We are 100% committed to spending the rest of our life helping people to achieve a quiet mind state so they can kick ass and have an epic life. Thank you so much for joining us. Please go to matthewferry.com/ignite-mastermind, and you will find the mastermind information there where you can register and go through the application process. Looking forward to hearing from each and every one of you. Thanks for being here with us. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye, chicken pot pie. Later.